cats, what's happening?
Hello, beautiful people.
There's my beautiful wife over there. We are on our way back to the hospital again for the third day in a row. All part of this chemotherapy treatment that she has to go through.
Well, it's the ostomy that is giving them a challenge. It's such high output. I have to go get fluids and magnesium and potassium so I don't dehydrate.
Over the weekend, she started feeling really lousy, so went to the hospital on Monday, and they took blood samples, and they said some of her levels were dangerously low. So she was hooked up to the IV, and they gave her fluids and medicine. And then we got a call that the doctor wanted her to go back yesterday for even more IV fluids and medicine.
They said my kidney function is not what it should be.
Yeah, so that wasn't good. So we went back to the hospital yesterday, but it wasn't anything what we thought it was going to be. We're going down the road there, coming up on the hospital, Route 18. It's a state route there. Real busy traffic, but we're heading up that way, and I'm probably going about 45 miles an hour when two police interceptor vehicles went around us. They had to be going 100 miles an hour.
We didn't even have time to pull over. They were like right next to us.
It happened so quick. I mean, they went around us like rocket jets and headed up towards the hospital. We didn't think a whole lot about it. We just said, boy, they're going awfully fast. That's dangerous, you know. As fast as they were going, anything could have happened. But apparently we said it must be some big emergency that they would go that fast. Well, we pulled into the hospital, parked the car, and as we were walking into the medical building, we could hear the echoes of sirens off of the buildings. And we couldn't really see what was going on. We just went ahead and went into the medical building, got on the elevator, and headed up towards the 6th floor.
What did you say to me when we got on the elevator?
We're on the elevator, and I said, what would you do if some criminal come busting in the elevator right about now?
I said I count on my big bad biker to protect me.
And we were just joking around, you know. So we get up to the 6th floor. Val registered at the automated kiosk there, and then we were led into the oncology lobby, where we sit and wait for the nurse to come and call us back, where she can get her IVs. We hadn't even sat there for a couple minutes, and the nurse busted open the door and ordered everybody to head on back all the way to the back of the oncology department. Hurry up, let's go. So, okay, so, you know, and everybody else that was out in the main lobby on that floor came in too. So all the people on that floor ended up back there in that oncology department. Now, they wouldn't administer any medicine either to Val. They said, we're not going to do anything because there's a possibility we may have to do an evacuation.
And there were poor sick women there, just skin and bone in wheelchairs, and the nurses had to take their chemo IVs out to prepare for evacuation.
Yeah. Well, whatever was going on, we weren't sure what was happening. So
I have the police scanner on my phone, so I put that on.
Yeah, both of us got the police scanner app, which is a really neat little app. You can go on there and you can pick your country, your state, your county, and then it gives you a list of different, police departments or whatever that you want to listen to. So we pulled up the local county sheriff and police channel, and right away we started hearing the police radio. So what did you hear on the scanner then?
Well, I heard them say on the scanner that it was a 54-year-old woman with a weapon threatening employees. And that's what the police scanner said. So then we turned on the TV for the news, and the news actually said active shooter, which now they're saying, oh no, we didn't say that. I heard it.
Well, then they said shots fired in the hospital. And as we're watching the TV, I mean, they had little TVs in there for people to view, so everybody was watching the TVs, and they actually showed a picture of like a hallway with the door barricaded with hospital furniture, a hospital bed and stuff piled in front of the doorway like they were trying to block the shooter. So we're up there, we didn't know what was going on. We kept trying to listen to little tidbits. The scanner didn't tell us a whole lot. It was just, the police cordoning off the area. They would send one unit over to entrance A and another one over to emergency, and
it was more than just Medina Police. There was the Sheriff's Department, Homeland Security, ATF, other community police departments.
So the hospital was on complete lockdown, and we were trapped up on the 6th floor with a whole horde of people jammed in that oncology area for an hour and a half?
Hour and a half, yep.
And really didn't know what was going on. Well, then we heard on the TV, that there were no shots fired, false report of shots fired. There was no shots fired. Finally, the SWAT showed up and came in through this back entrance, and they hustled us all out this back way, which I didn't even know existed, and what we assumed to be a freight elevator. We all piled in there, and there was a police officer in there with us, not a SWAT officer, just a local police officer. And he took us down to the lower floor. Well, the elevator opened up, and who do you think was the first one that stepped out into the hallway? Not the police officer.
I always have to be first, what can I say?
Her. She steps out into the hallway. At that point, the cop says, uh-oh, this is not the right floor. No, it was the 2nd floor. And as we found out later, that was the floor that the alleged shooter was on. So what a blunder that was on the police part there.
Well, it was even worse when he got us to the right floor. We had to walk down a long hallway. The whole floor had been evacuated. And I thought a police officer was going to go in front of us. No, Mark and I, with the whole crowd trailing behind us, led the way.
So we really weren't sure where we were going. They just said, follow this hallway, and then left us go. So we led this troop of people down this long hallway, and at the end of the hallway, we turned to the right, and there was an elevator there, and there was a police officer standing there, and he had us get on the elevator and take it down to the lower level, the floor level, which we did. When the doors opened up at the floor level, we were in the main lobby at that point. And I had never seen so many law enforcement officers, SWAT team in full regalia. I mean, they had their helmets on, their goggles, their high-power assault weapons in their hand with their fingers on the triggers. Mm-hmm. There was ATF, there was federal agents, and that was rather intimidating. It's not every day you walk into an area where they're locked and loaded and ready to roll. That was pretty scary.
I was telling Mark, get some pictures, get some video. And he's like, They got their fingers on the trigger.
I'm not going to pull my phone out and aim it at some cop that's got a loaded assault weapon in his hand. No, I'm just going to keep walking. I'm looking straight ahead. Anyway, they dumped us outside into the outside the entrance there, and this was weird because we get outside, there's like no cops out there, no SWAT, no nothing. There's helicopters going around in the sky, and we're like, okay, well, I guess we're on our own to make our way out to the car. What do we do? Run? Do we run zigzag? Do we crawl on our bellies?
All I know is when I got off the elevator, there was a little granny with a cane, And I'm not a mean person, but let me tell you, I shot around her and took a different path, because if I had to stay behind her, she was getting booted out of the way. I wanted to run.
Yeah, there was no time for dilly-dallying. Well, we made our way, we got in the car and we made our way through the maze of police vehicles that were everywhere around the hospital. I mean, everywhere a place that they could pull off, there was a cop car, a SWAT vehicle, a federal sheriff's, everything. And as we went out the exit to the hospital, on the other side of this street, all of the news reporters, media were there, because they were not allowed access on the hospital property, so they just lined up across the street there with all their cameras and everything. So that was kind of weird. But we left the hospital and headed home, and I think then is when it really kind of hit us, like we were just like a ball of nerves.
My stomach was in knots all night. I didn't think I was that scared, but boy, it was draining. It was unnerving. I'm not supposed to have alcohol. I went home and took 2 sips of Grand Marnier just to calm.
At the time it was going down, I didn't feel that I was scared or anything. I was very calm and collect, but it was after the whole thing was over that I was kind of like, what the heck happened there? That was weird. So we made it home safe, but yesterday she got no medicine, no IV. We were evacuated before they could, do any of that. I think it was about a half hour after we left the hospital, they gave it an all clear and they let everybody back in, but we were already home. Our appointment had been canceled for the day. So she was listening to some reports later. What did they say this morning?
They said this morning that it was a hoax, that a man called in. And I find this so fishy, because they should have that number. Doesn't the number display when you call in? If I were to call 911 right now, they'd have my number. If I hung up, they'd be calling back. But they said a man called in and reported a 54-year-old woman at the hospital with a weapon threatening employees.
So that was like a 911 call to the dispatcher. And the police, they did what they had to do. They reacted immediately and headed to the hospital and put it on lockdown. They searched the whole hospital. They interrogated everyone. And there was no witnesses found that saw anything of the sort. Nobody knew anything about a woman with a gun. Nobody in the whole hospital. They evacuated the medical building. And now this all took place in the medical building, which is a separate wing from the hospital itself. But they had the whole hospital on lockdown. But they evacuated the whole medical building, searched every room, and there was nobody there to fit that description of a shooter. So it was determined by the police department that it was a hoax, that somebody just called and made a false report.
But they don't know. It really irritates me that they don't know who did this. They need to find this person.
Well, they're saying they don't know who did it, but, I'm sure with the technology today, they will get to the bottom of it. If they don't, I think somebody's letting the ball drop, because it should be pretty easy to figure out who did this. Anyway, we're heading back to the hospital again today. Hopefully it's not as exciting as it was yesterday.
Gosh, you always know how to show a girl a good time.
That's what she tells me. I didn't plan that yesterday, trust me.
What an adventure.
That was not my idea of fun at all. Kind of a wasted day, but somewhat of a thrill at the same time. But not the kind of thrill you want to have. Nobody was hurt. Nobody was injured. Just people scared to death. Somebody in the hospital had thought they heard gunshots and got on their cell phone and, oh my God, there's gunshots fired. It was just all induced by panic, and that was it. There was no gunshots. there was no shooter in the hospital, so
I think it's a sign of the times. There's so many shootings. Everyone is just petrified.
everybody's jumping on board with the shooting thing. So that's the story for today. True as it is. Nothing made up there. You can't make that stuff up, as they say.
No. If you like our videos, please hit that subscribe button. We are so close to 6,000 subscribers. If we could just make it over, I think we're 5,913. Share us with your friends. Hopefully they subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Leave us some comments. I can't do too much these days, so I love watching the videos and reading the comments. And I hope you all have a wonderful day, you beautiful people. Mwah.